So the apology video.
Mm-hmm.
That was shot in my backyard, and that was shot at my neighbor's house that looks like a castle. And I said, hey, can I use this corner of your, because it's round, it has the dentitions, on the top, like an old castle. I said, can I use this? And his carport has these like arched things. So I'm playing guitar with Craig, but when I'm singing in this round thing, that's outside. So that's my neighbor's house. And then everything was in my backyard. We shot everything in my backyard I have like a courtyard patio area thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of scouting locations and doing this and doing that. And I want it to be really dark and smoky and creepy and vibey. And so we literally was like, well, what about if we shot it here? And I was like, what if we did it in my backyard and we just, I don't even think you would know.
Right.
So yeah, it was all done really, really easily. And then the Vanguards of the Don Wall video, me and Craig shot that. On our I filmed him and he filmed me, and that was in Florida, where there's this cave. I forget what it's called, but there's this kind of cave thing that you can go in. And I have friends that are like rock climbers out in Oregon and in Washington.
Oh wow!
And that song was written about this guy who climbed the Don Wall at Yosemite.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, dude, when you go rock climbing again, can you just like film each other and just give me footage, and I'm going to piece something together? Because again, you couldn't even hire a film crew back then.
Right.
Everything was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have something. So Craig filmed me playing my drums. I filmed him doing guitar stuff. And then when it came to like the two of us and this other bass player, another friend of ours, Joe Helm, he filmed us doing that. So it was all done really easily. But my buddy Thomas Crane, who his company is called Kill Devil Films, he did all the Queensryche videos that for this last record, and he did my Hellbound and Down video. But yeah, the Crossroads to Insanity, that was all shot at my friend's house, and it just had so much cool stuff I could work with. I thought we could totally do this here. And
dude, it's very convincing, man.
It looks kind of like an institution.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, where the heck did they do? I want to go there. You know?
yeah, right on.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if you guys ever shoot a video, man, I got a killer guy who's very, very, very affordable.
Okay,
a fraction of everybody else I know.
Yeah,
and so he did 7 videos on this last record for us, something like that.
Yeah, dude, and you know what I'm finding, man? Videos anymore are probably one of the most important things that bands can do. You know, people if they can't come to your show, they want to see a video of you, even if you're doing an Insane Asylum type thing or if you're performing or whatever, because people make that connection that way. And then when you come into town, you guys,
it's a good promo to get you to come to a show.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was going to say is, you guys don't really need that. You're Queensryche, right? But it is a good promo, like you said, and
yeah, and they're fun. They're fun to make.
Yeah.
Videos are fun to make.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of fun, I heard you used to do some stand-up.
I did one stand-up. I did one stand-up on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Anyway, look, I probably should get back to my real job. Can't stay away too long. There's always someone waiting to replace you. It might not seem like a long time up here to you guys, but the amount of time I've been standing up here, Mike Portnoy's joined 3 more bands.
And I actually have a few little YouTube shorts on my YouTube channel. I have the whole thing. I still need to try to find cut up some other pieces.
Yeah, share that one you shared with me earlier when we were talking.
Well, there was a couple of them.
About the Queensrÿche and how...
Oh, yeah. So I said, I introduced myself. There was probably 300 people in that room. It was packed, and there's all kinds of people that from all these other bands that are in the room, and so I walked up and I said, hey, everyone, my name's Todd La Torre, and it's actually pronounced, or what did I say? I said it's pronounced nothing like it's spelled or something. I said it's LA capital TORRE. In some parts of Europe, they say Todd La Torre. In Staten Island, they say Todd La Torre. And some of the old Queensryche fans call me not Jeff Tate. And dude, the place erupted. I love that. The place erupted because I'll post something or there'll be something online about the band and somebody will go, "You're not Jeff Tate." Like it happens, it happens. You're not Jeff Tate. So it's like, I thought, and after I did that stand up and I started cutting up pieces of the show, somebody on my page would go like, "You're not Jeff Tate." And I go, and I would literally find the link and I would reply to them with my joke. And I would go,
yeah.
I was like, "Hey man, you walked right into this one with like a thumbs up."
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I really don't care. But
yeah.
But it's so funny, and people started just dying laughing. And then I told a joke once about, I love the 80s. I love the 80s. I'm a huge fan. But when I go see a live band now, you never know who you're going to see. I mean, the bass player comes out. He's not original. People start laughing. The drummer comes out. He's not original. You can hear they're catching on.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, even the lead singers are not original. I go, it was this one band. I went and saw this band recently. It was kind of like that. I go, I'm trying to think of the name. I go, I remember now. I remember how it started.
Yep.
It started with a Q. Was it Queen? It was Quiet Riot. And, people started laughing. And I was like, oh, the nerve. Who thinks that such an iconic singer could be replaced? And that's okay. And so it was a lot of self-deprecating jokes. And it was really funny. And then my closing joke was, hey, look, I can't leave without saying this person's name. He was a big influence on me as a singer. And his name is Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Scott Soto, because he's sitting over in the corner. He was sitting.
Oh, yeah.
So, dude, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun, Ray. It was. Yeah. It was really. I was really nervous because you don't have your band, your blanket, what works.
Yeah, man.
Literally, it's dead quiet, and you got to make them laugh. But the good thing is, you have a built-in kind of cushion because these are people on the Monsters of Rock cruise. They know who you are. They want you to do well.
Yeah.
And you want, and so it's not the same as going into a comedy club in Oklahoma. And then what kind of jokes am I going to tell? Like, so I told jokes that had to do with music and the 80s. And, I'm talking about cruise ship food and it's just all kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Stand-up comedy is something that I love. I've always loved it since I was a kid. I love the art of a really good delivery and how things can come back full circle, and you can kind of bring that point back up again.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then actually, I was actually called much later after that thing, and somebody said this woman, Courtney Cronin, who worked for, I mean, all the huge comics, and she's a writer, and she said, "Hey, there's a Kiss thing, like I don't know what it was, some kind of convention party, I don't know what it was, but it was a Kiss event thing, and would you want to be one of the guest comics?" And it was going to be Craig Gass, who's a friend of mine. He's really funny, and he's on the Howard Stern show. He does the best Al Pacino you've ever heard in your life. And Sam,
oh wow,
his Al Pacino is ridiculous.
Oh
so
man,
his name is Craig Gass.
I'm gonna look him up,
dude. Look him up and put in Al Pacino, and you will be mind blown. Anyway, so it was going to be Courtney, who's really funny, and Craig, and then I would be the other comic. And I was like, wow, you really? And so Jim Florentine, who is also a stand-up comedian, he said, "Hey, would you be interested in opening for me as a comic when I do shows in Florida?" And I was like, "Are you serious, man?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, you're really good. And I think you have what it takes to do this again and like be successful. Like I would love, you could totally open for me as a comic." And I was like, I don't know if I have the courage, because now it's a totally different, now again, these are strangers, Ray. And you gotta, what kind of material do I write and I also have to be mindful of my career.
Yeah.
So if I tell something that's really offensive, even if I think it's hysterical and it's a joke, relax. But if I tell a joke and it alienates a demographic that loves Queensrÿche, for example, next thing you know, it's like it's not good for me.
Yeah.
So there's things that I have to kind of watch that otherwise I wouldn't care about. But because of the band, and I don't want to reflect poorly on the band. I mean, look, I have to be myself also. But there's some things where it's like, but going back to the comedy thing, I know you love comedy. You like fun things. And it's a great therapy. It's a good therapy. I mean, I'm laughing.
And you know, it's sad where it's gotten, because I was watching this Jeff Dunham thing the other day. You know who Jeff Dunham is? Yeah. He goes, let me just say this. He goes, there's so many people out there. He goes, I'm going to talk about stuff that's going to offend somebody. And people are going to want to cancel me. He goes, I just want to say, I don't care, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say, because it's a joke.
It's a, you know what? Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, I do not get offended easily at all. And look, there's one thing to tell something that's shocking because of a shock value, and it's not funny. But if you can say something that's, I don't even want to start the word racy, not racist, but racy, edgy, taboo. If you say something that's edgy that offends a group of people, but it's done in a really good way and it's funny. Yeah. I mean, look, comedy is the last thing that we have where you can say things that are offensive. And the whole point of comedy is that, you're exposing things that people don't want to talk about.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing. Or things that are relatable. I mean, Bill Burr, he's really funny. And he told this one joke. I'm not going to say the joke the way he says it, because it's got a lot of profanity in it. But he says this joke about how white people will say a joke and they'll use like the F word at the end of a phrase. Right. Like, oh, person did something, blah, 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 and he'll use the bad word at the end. He goes,
Right.
and black people will say it at the beginning and nobody bats an eye.
Right.
And the way that he tells the joke is so true and so funny that you go, it totally sounds more offensive the way we say it. But when a black person says it like that, it's not a big deal. Like, we don't take offense to the curse word, but when you end on the curse word, all of a sudden it's like it's the stamp of like badness.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But he says a lot of misogynistic things that really rub people wrong. But I mean, I think I don't know. I have a pretty sick sense of humor, but I love that comedy is kind of the last thing. I mean, I guess in music you could say things that are, but music is usually not quite as literal, and comedy, you can just say things straight and pretty matter of fact and blunt. That can really, it's the only thing left where, for now, you can say things that otherwise are deemed completely inappropriate. But if it's funny, it's funny. I don't know why people are so uptight about everything.
Yeah. Like, and I get it. There's people, they don't want to hear the curse words, or they don't want to hear this or that. Don't go.
Sure. Yeah, don't go. And that's the thing. Don't go. Look, if you don't want to see a Slayer show because you don't like the imagery, don't go.
Right.
You know what this guy's about. Andrew Dice Clay was going to say the things he said, and that George Carlin was going to have a completely different delivery.
Absolutely.
He would use a lot of profanity. Then you had comics like Stephen Wright, who's talk like this, and we're very, I live on a dead end street, and I don't know how I got there. These one-liners without the profanity, and that can be really funny too. So
yeah. No, it's pretty crazy, man. Do you have anything coming up as far as any more solo stuff, or no?
So I'm. It seems like forever, but I'm compiling a bunch of ideas for another solo record. And I have assembled a band of players to try to start doing my own solo shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, Queensrÿche, we do probably 100 shows a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely time consuming. And then if we're going to write another record, well, then that's even more time you're working with the band if you're not performing. But what I'm trying to do is really the opposite end of the business, which is the business aspect, not just the artistry as a musician, but bookings and how to plan shows, and do you get a guarantee or do you do a door deal, and what's the split, and what kind of gear do you need? And I'm looking at things extremely stripped down. Not a crew, no crew. Maybe I can have my own sound guy. Maybe I need a house guy. Maybe I can, but I really want to perform my solo record. 0 Queensryche songs. I'm not going to play or perform any Queensryche songs. I think that would just not be good.
And you don't even need it.
And I don't need it. Like I don't want to play Queensryche songs if it's not the Queensryche guys. So, some promoters or whatever may be like, would you be willing to play? The answer is no. I could play some covers at the end of the set for fun that everybody knows, maybe a cool Maiden tune or, something. But I really want to play shows, and I'm not talking full ground tours. I'm talking, let me go do 3 shows in Florida. And then maybe another month or whenever later, I go do some shows up on the East Coast, up in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. No longer than maximum 14 days.
Right.
I'm thinking, a week, 7 to 10 days, and then come home. And I really want to play my stuff live.
Yeah. And your stuff, it's that rip your face off, just metal hard. Just when I listen to your stuff, it reminds me a lot of Maiden, maybe some Fate's Warning. a little bit in some of your phrasing and in some of the musical aspects of it, but it's just great. It's heavy stuff. It's not like Queensryche, like you said, nothing like Queensryche.
Nothing like it. Yeah, and it's thrashy, kind of like a little bit of Halford, a little bit of Overkill.
Yes.
You know? I have to like kind of go back and recondition my voice. I did that during COVID when everybody was shut down. So, I mean, I was singing like that every day. You know, as you know, Queensryche is super clear singing and clean singing. So I used to be able to switch gritty to clean, like on a dime. But I haven't really been singing like that, like some of those songs on my record, like Pretenders or Vanguards of the Dawn Wall or the verses to Darkened Majesty. So I actually need to condition myself, but I've got great players that just want to do it for fun with me. Yeah. And they're not looking to think that they're going to go make a ton of money, because it's, look, I'm not Queensryche. You know, when Queensryche plays, that's its own thing. But me on my own, look, if I could get a couple hundred people to show up at each gig, I would consider that very successful for me.
Sure.
So that's,
I think you'd be surprised, though.
I hope so. I mean, that's kind of what I'm working on. But you know, Queensryche is always priority. But solo wise, I'm working on songs. Got some players that are learning the material, and when everybody feels good and we've done rehearsals and everybody feels solid, including me, then I'll start booking a few things here and there. And then Queensryche, you know, we just did that big tour. We have some stuff that we'll be announcing really soon. That's really exciting. But we have a lot of shows that we'll be playing, and you know, it's just always a grind. You know, it's always touring or fly dates, and these little pockets of downtime. I love them more than anything. I just sleep in my own bed every night.
Oh yeah,
and watch movies with my wife and snuggle with my dog, and you know, go see my mom, and which is important to me, and my sister, and you know, a couple friends. But I really don't go out much, man. When I'm home, I really don't. I probably drive 2,000 miles a year on my car.
That's it.
I'm just not. I'm not really around as much, and when I am, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, you know what's neat about you that I'm learning is you seem like this real humble dude. You have a real cool countenance about you, and you care about the good things in life, like your family, your wife, your mom, dude. It's not that rock star image. Oh, I'm a rock star, you know. And you just seem like a real genuine dude. And to me, that's, for me, guys who have that are gonna get farther in life because of that. You know, if you walk around with, I'm the new Queensryche singer, get out of here, you know, kind of thing. It's like, what a jerk, man. You know, yeah. Versus if you're talking like, yeah, man, you know, I get to spend some time with my mom and my wife and my dog, you know, and that's realness. That's a good thing. That's a person who, like you said before, you were the fan, and now you're the guy in the band, but it didn't change who you are, you know.
It really didn't.
Yeah, and that's really important, man, that you keep that, because you cannot let your surroundings change the person that you are. Because for me, I take pride in me in the sense that people who know me at work, I'm a construction manager for a huge builder, right? Yeah. I'm the same guy as I'm on this podcast, or as I'm on stage, or when I meet people. Dude, people freak out because I'll get a message from somebody on Facebook. Man, I could use some prayer, man, you know, and I'll call them on Facebook, you know, through Messenger. And they're like, wow, I'm freaking out. Rey Parra's calling me. I'm like, dude, I'm no different than you, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you can keep that, man, that's very honorable and respectful, you know, and I see that in you, bro.
I mean, thank you very much for that. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, what goes up must come down. I'm I feel very fortunate that I get to be in this band. I feel very fortunate that that I know a lot of people that I know. That being said, you know, the relationships that you have in life, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. When you're on your deathbed, and you know, all of the accolades, all of the videos, all of the shows, it doesn't mean anything.
That's right.
All that matters is those relationships that are meaningful, and that's what really is all that matters to me at the end of the day. I don't care about stuff. I don't live in a big house with a fancy this, and I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't want it. I have a couple toys, okay, you know, but I live well within my means. And when I meet someone, I will say this, it's changed me in this. I mean, some people think maybe I don't talk to them as much because I'm busy and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Okay. I think some people might think, oh, he thinks he's too good for me now. I'm sure that exists.
Sure.
But the fact is, I've never been a spotlight person, and I'm much more reclusive because I'm always around people, and there's all this stimuli and there's sensory overload. So when I'm done with a show, if there's people hanging out, I'm not going to go hang out with them. It doesn't mean that I think I'm too good for them. I need privacy. My ears need a break. I don't want to talk because it hurts my voice. And so when I'm home, I've been around music and dudes, you know, all the time, and sound and flights and travel, and you have no privacy unless you're in a hotel room, you know. And when I get home, you can hear a pin drop in my house right now.
Yeah.
I don't have a stereo going. I don't have a stereo in my house. I don't have a stereo going. The TVs are off. My wife is in the other room doing work on the computer. It is peaceful. And so, you know, when 4th of July rolls around and there's parties, I don't go out. I don't drink. I've never been drunk in my life. So I've never been into the party scene. And so I'm never going to be out at like a party. I like a small group of some friends, maybe a little cookout, barbecue, you know, that kind of thing. But and to be honest, if I go to a local rock show, the fact that a lot of people do know how I am, I can't just watch it like everybody else. It's selfies, it's this, it's that. And while I'm very grateful that people care about wanting to maybe take a photograph or talk to me about something, like I'm very thankful. But that's like when I'm outside of a show, and then it's like, oh, hey, Todd. And again, it doesn't mean I'm not grateful, but I don't want that. I appreciate it, but it's not something that I particularly want. And so I avoid going out to. I mean, I will go see a local band. It's not like I have friends that gig, and sometimes I'll go out and support them. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, dude, why don't you come up and sing? And I said, no, I am here to watch you. I am not going to go up there and be this star show-offy guy. I'm here like everybody else, and you're the guy on stage tonight, and I'm here to support my buddy. And you know, that happens all the time. No, you want to come up? No, I don't want to do it. Don't announce me. Don't say anything. I'm here to support you. And that's all I want. That would make me happy if I could just watch my friend play. Yeah. And so in that way, Ray, it has changed me.
Sure.
But I'm still the guy that pulls weeds and will help my neighbor move furniture. And I got to go change a flush valve in my mom's toilet because it's not working. I got to caulk in a window and paint some trim tomorrow. Like I am that regular guy. I'm the my friends know me. I'm the upholstery guy still, but they also know, like, holy shit, I can't believe you're this famous singer now. And I say, well, that's all relative. Famous how? I'm not a household name, and you know, I'm not Brad Pitt. I can go to the mall and nobody knows who I am. But in our world, it changes you. But I'm still very grounded. I'm still the same guy. At the end of the day, the people that really know me,
Yeah.
they know that, dude, you're the same guy.
Yeah.
And I am. And in closing to that topic, there are people that we know of, whether we know them personally or we just know of that reputation, where they're very famous as a musician and they're really good, but they're a total, you know what? They're a jerk. Okay. Yeah. And that's how they're going to be. Oh man, that guy's a killer guitar player, but he's arrogant and he's an asshole. Or, oh, this guy's a great singer, but geez, he won't give you the time of day, or he shrugs you off. I never want to be remembered for that. I want to be remembered as a guy that was well grounded, who was very appreciative of the small things in life, and happened to be a talented musician that made some cool music.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's secondary. And being in Queensryche or being a musician does not define me at all. At all. It's an extension of me. But by no means is that how I define myself. Some people think that's their whole persona. And if you took that away from them, they wouldn't have anything in life. That's not me at all. I had a life before Queensryche. I had a career before Queensryche. And if it ended tomorrow, I'll have a life after it. So I'm going to be the same guy.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know what? I'm that guy too. You know, I get asked in my church, I run sound in my church. They're like, why don't you lead worship, man? I'm like, I don't want to. I have my own gigs when I play. I want to come here and run sound for the praise team and make them sound the best that they can, you know. And well, how about a guest appearance? No, I'm good. You know what I mean? And ironically enough, our good friend Brian, you know what he told me about you? He said, I'm going to tell you something about Todd. And I just heard it right now in what you just said. He said Todd has more Christian values than a lot of the Christians that I know. The things that he values, the way he conducts his life, the way he is with his family and his friends, and the character of that man is more than a lot of Christians that I know. Dude, that is huge, man.
Michael Sweet told me that.
Did he really?
Michael Sweet told me, he said, you're more Christian than a lot of self-proclaimed Christians. Now, that's a very kind compliment. Look, I am far from perfect. I'm very fallible. I'm very fallible. But I do my best to try to be respectful and to just be a good person. I mean, look, I'm really cocky. I'm really cocky. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I cut up and I talk smack, and I'm, you know, but at the end of the day, the things that are important to me, I remember we had a tour manager a long time ago that worked for us, and he, I'm not going to say what denomination, but he was a religious person, and I'm not trying to throw this person under the bus. I'm trying to highlight the context of what we're discussing.
Sure.
And I remember he was just screaming at this lady. We were out of the country, and he was screaming at this front desk girl about credit cards, that it would be on one credit card versus needing every band member's credit card for the room or something, for the hotel rooms. Screaming, dropping F-bombs. I mean, just out of control. And there was a pendant that he wore that was symbolic of his faith. It wasn't a cross, but it was a pendant that was symbolic to his belief and his church or whatever.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I go, dude, you cannot do that. I said, and I used a phrase. I don't want to use the phrase because it'll give it up, but I used a phrase that stood for this medallion pendant that he wore that had some initial thing on it, and it stood for this saying. And I said, actually, he was a Mormon.
Ah, okay.
And I said, you know, even the Christians think Mormons are batshit crazy. But anyway, I said, hey, you got to choose the right. And that's what it was, like a CTR. It was this CTR.
I know exactly what that is. Yeah.
And he was I really liked the guy, and he was a good guy. He had a good heart, but boom, and I would say, hey, and I made this little dance. I go, you got to choose the right. You got to choose the right. And like, he was just fuming at this lady. And I said, dude, I said his name and I said, right there, you're wearing it. You're wearing it. You got to choose the right. You're screaming at this lady saying the F word and this is BS and the whole 9 yards. And again, here's this atheist. I have no skin in the game.
Right.
Satan, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in any of it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, a guy that's trying to become in the ministry, that I'm trying to make you mindful of the thing that's around your neck of how to behave to a woman that you're just completely, just lambasting. Like,
yeah.
So that's an example of, here's a person that's self-proclaimed this righteousness. This is the path. This is the way. And then I'm here I am saying, hey, doesn't this stand for that, for whatever you believe? Shouldn't you be doing what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I understand what they mean when they say that. And I think that everybody should be that way. But yeah, the Christians or any of those of the Abrahamic religions, I find personally that they're, look, Michael Sweet catches a lot of crap, okay? Mm-hmm. Because when you raise your hand with a sign that says, I have a musical ministry, essentially, is what Stryper is. It's a killer band, but their message is evangelistic, right? It's a type of evangelism. Maybe they are preaching the message of God through song.
Right.
And that's fine. But when you do that, when you wear a cross, when you exemplify this kind of, when you advertise that, by default, you are held, or should be, you're kind of holding yourself to a standard or an expectation of how to behave.
Exactly.
So wow, you are saying you're citing scriptures. You're quick to say these nice little talking points, but when push comes to shove, you're not behaving that way.
Right.
And here's a guy like me that, well, obviously I don't advertise that, but I don't even subscribe to that. Yet I'm still saying to these people that do, hey, don't be that way. Yeah. That's not a good way to be. And I understand we're all human, where we can be reactionary, we can be emotional, and it's not easy to always work out things in real time and not react inappropriately sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I found myself in multiple situations where people, in this kind of setting with this medallion, and I know they're doing studies to become a preacher of that faith, and then they're treating someone like total crap. I just think that you got to just.
Yeah,
I appreciate what Brian said, and I know what Michael Sweet meant when he said that. Like, hey, I feel that Todd's just a good person, and I find his behavior sometimes a lot more congruent to the ideals that our faith espouses, more than those that it's easy to just put a cross on. It's easy to say I go to church. That's the easy part.
Dude, it's unfortunate that so many people think that just because I go to church on Sunday and I sit in a pew, I'm a Christian. No, all that means is you go to church and sit in a pew. That don't mean nothing, man. No. If I don't have to go around and tell people, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm saved. Hey,
no,
I don't even have to say one word about that, because
you
if
know
you know me, exactly. And if you know me, you know what I stand for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just like you, man. You don't have to go around like, you said it's a known fact I'm an atheist. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you are who you are.
Yeah.
And people have to there's Christians out there praying for you. Say, I want to see you at the Lamb's Last Supper, in the resurrection and that. And then there's people praying you get saved. And then there's people saying, hey, Todd is going to be who he is, and we believe there's a God, and if there is work in Todd's life is what we pray. But we're not going to say, Todd, you know what, dude, you need to get saved or you're going to hell, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think you would have a better rapport with someone just being a good friend and being there, someone you can talk to, and just, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's where the value is. And look, like you said, look, if you know what you believe and feel in your heart, that's more valuable to how you're going to behave and how you're going to express that externally to the world, to your fellow man, when you're going to help somebody when they're down, or not. And versus somebody that professes these things and they go through the motions, they check the boxes, okay? But when a real situation happens, like blowing up at a front desk girl, when it really came to the meat and potatoes of the situation, you failed.
Yeah.
So you got to do better. But doing better means reflecting, having self-analyzing, right? Because if you don't acknowledge that there's a problem, then you're not going to even know what to fix.
Right.
I just find that, the way that you, and look, if and respecting that, if somebody reaches out to you and says, "Hey, Ray, I feel really lost. I feel like I need God in my life." Then you would say, "Well, let's talk about that."
Yeah.
But, you're not going to say to me, "Hey, dude," and believe me, I've had Christians say, "Look, I know you think you're an atheist, but Jesus lives inside of you." And that feels so rapey to me. It's like, you're not even allowing me my own personhood without the infiltration of your God. And so, I know you think you're that, but you're really not. And it's like, it's so gross to me that.
And it turns you off.
Dude, it turns me off, but it's such an imposing statement. And so I just say, like, wow, like, you're denying me my own. What if I said to you, do you ever feel urges? Okay, well, that's Satan. I know you think you're a Christian, but Satan really lives inside of you. And that's why you always have these little thoughts inside. And he's always in you, even though you think he's not. I can flip the script.
Absolutely, man.
But it's just like, or, it's a famous, well, not famous. It's a well-known thing from a lot of, atheists, Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, blah, blah, blah. What's it like to be an atheist? They say, well, do you believe in Thor or Zeus? No, that's how I feel about Jesus. I don't feel anything. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're an atheist too, to the thousands of gods. I just go one more. That's it. I just go one more, and that's okay. It doesn't mean, and what I always have good conversations with people with about these kinds of topics is, I don't care to change your mind. I don't want to change your mind. I have zero interest in changing your mind. What is interesting me is from a personal or a sociological perspective, is to say, I don't care that you believe it. I'm curious. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that?
Yeah, that's good.
So that's a conversation that is far more interesting to say, were you, people don't like the word indoctrinated, but it is. I go, were you born into a family that you were taught, the Lord's Prayer, and you were taught this and you were taught that, and, heaven is this nice golden, this happy place for eternity, and Satan is this horrible burning and fiery hell forever. Like, there's these conditions that happen at a young age. And if you were born in India, you probably would not be a Christian. If you were born in Saudi Arabia, you're probably a Muslim. If you were born, so geography plays a big role. And then you say, no, I was actually none of those things. I wasn't indoctrinated. My family didn't believe one way or the other. I came to know Jesus through Scripture. And you say, great, let's talk about that. What do you think about this, and this, and this? And so those are the interesting conversations that I like to have. Not, you're bad, I'm good, you're stupid, that doesn't interest me. And I'm always curious why someone believes something, and I love those conversations with friends. Man. I have a good friend of mine who literally thinks I'm going to burn in hell because of the way that I am. And I say, but do you believe in a just God? Yes. Do you believe in a righteous, merciful Savior, Jesus Christ? Yes. And he goes, man, you say that so well. You would be such a good Christian. I said, but if I'm just not convinced, and I don't subscribe, not only do you believe in a God, but you worship. That's a powerful thing. You worship a God that would punish me, Todd, who you know to be an otherwise good human being. So I'm punished because I'm simply just not convinced. I'm not convinced. Does that sound loving and merciful to you?
Right.
And so then, they kind of scratch their head and say, but those are the things that are fun for me to talk about, Ray.
Yeah, man.
And, but at the end of the day, dude, we're all just people, and we're here for like a second. And this is the only life we know we have. We don't know what's beyond this. Maybe there's an afterlife that's not even contingent on the divine. Maybe there's no God that doesn't even play a role in some other dimension that our energy goes to. For me, I think when you unplug, when we're done and our brain is dead, our energy goes somewhere. You can't destroy that. So it's in the universe somewhere.
Right.
And whether that information could be found out, what happens to that information that our energy has is an interesting concept and a whole nother conversation. But but I don't know, and you don't know. You don't have any information that I don't.
Right.
But we know that we have this one life. So yes, I am very much love the wind and the trees and the flowers and the simple things in life that are complex but very simple. And so I don't take today for granted, because there is no guarantee what comes after.
That's
this is
right.
the only one I know we have. So why not try to be a good person? Why not try to be understanding? Do something altruistic that doesn't have some caveat or contingency of what's it going to get for me. What it gets for me is I know I did something really nice for somebody with nothing in return. That's what I like, But I think that faith can play a very important role in a lot of people's lives. It gives them purpose where otherwise they might not find purpose.
Right.
It can be a good sense of community for people that don't have a family or don't have that community elsewhere. So I think that it can be a very powerful thing and a special thing for a lot of people. And as long as they don't push that stuff on me or try to infringe on my rights, more power to you,
Yeah. And that's more opportunities for us to be friends, and just
absolutely. Yeah.
And that, if you're, I have found out through my years of being a Christian that there's times where you can share Jesus with people who are open, that they want to hear it.
Sure.
And then there's times when they don't want to hear it. And if you try to push it on them, they're like you said, they're going to get turned off and say, you know what, I don't even want to talk to you, Yeah. And so you have to use a couple of things. Common sense is one of them.
Yeah.
You can feel, hey, I think I could talk to this guy about that. Yeah. And share my experiences and my thoughts versus I'm going to tell you, man, if you don't this, so you really have to learn how to play that. Yeah. And from my end of it, just let the Lord do what he's going to do. Right.
Yeah.
But me as a human being, I have to just display what I believe and try to be just that friend. For example, with you, I hope that this podcast is going to lead to a good friendship with you and I, because I think you're an awesome dude, man.
Thank you, man.
I did ask you something earlier about my podcast. We'll talk about later. Hopefully, yes. Is that a thumbs up? Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. What,
okay,
is
cool.
Is it wrong or something?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think that'll be great, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that'll be great. But yeah, so Todd, man, this actually turned out way better than I thought. I thought we were just going to talk about music.
Let me ask you a couple questions now.
Yeah, man.
What's going on with Sacred Warrior? What's going on with or do you guys have shows? Or do you still write new music? Are you putting another thing out? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Okay. So we are working on some new songs.
Yep.
It's kind of a little different because I'm in Florida.
Yep.
Larry, who is in Fear Not, who is now our second guitarist, he's in Oklahoma, and the rest of the guys are in Chicago. And writing and stuff is a little difficult because like Bruce will come up with something and Steve and him will track it and they'll send it to Larry and they'll send it to me and I'll throw some vocals on. And then it's like, yeah, I hear this. I don't hear that. So it's taken us, we have specifically one song right now that is so close to being done. If we could just nail down on a few things that we just can't seem to agree on. That's what I was asking you prior to this, right? But we do have some songs, and we're not going to do like a full blown album right now because it's been.
You know what? Maybe you just release a single.
Correct, and that's what we're going to do.
And then 6 months later, you do another single.
Correct.
If you play shows, you play stuff that people know, and you go, "Hey, here's a recent single we put out."
Correct.
And you don't worry about the whole record thing.
Right. And that's really where we're at because
that's cool.
I've noticed, I've gone to see Night Ranger and Def Leppard and Motley Crue and all them guys, and specifically Def Leppard. They play all the songs that everybody knows, and everybody's like, yeah. Then they play new stuff, and everybody's like, oh, hey, so how's it going? They're not like really paying attention.
I hate that.
I know, bro. You know what I hate, but I'm learning when we open up for bands like Queensryche. So you know me now, right? I don't move around a lot because I'm a big guy, but I try to sing with conviction, right? But what I do
Ronnie
have,
James Dio. Ronnie didn't run around.
That's right. Well, he had them high heels. That's why.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. But for me, I perform with my mouth, not only in the singing, but in the talking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I've learned that when you're opening for a band like Queensryche, like I said, those people aren't there to see us. They're there to see you. So we're performing and everybody's sitting down. Well, not everybody. We had some fans there too, maybe, I don't know, 50 of them or whatever. They're standing up and everything, but everybody else is just sitting. But when you start performing and you make that connection, and I'm a kind of guy, I look at people in the eyes. Yes, I look at the people who are sitting down. I'm looking right at you. I'm singing at you with conviction. And then they tend to like, okay, yeah, but they're still not getting up, And then we get done, and then as soon as we walk off stage, everybody's standing up, bum rushing the stage for Queensryche. That's because that's who you guys are. But I'll tell you what.
That's so hard that's hard when they're just like, but when you're on stage and that's the case, it sucks.
Yeah, but I don't let it get to me. I don't let it affect my performance.
Yeah.
It makes me try even harder.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's been instances where we're playing and people are just like,
yeah,
like, are they not digging us at all? They look, or are they just really focused? They're just like, they're just really taking it in. They're just not animated or reactionary, and you don't know how to process that. And you're like, I gotta dig in harder, or I'll look at you. I'm looking at you, and make them. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Man, you got to draw them in.
You got to draw them in.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like sometimes that's the way that show went.
Yeah.
As long as you gave it your best,
exactly.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. And then as far as shows, we're playing with Pillar in July, and then we're doing Mortal Fest again in August, which is at that same BMI event.
What is that?
So where we play with you guys at the BMI Event Center?
Yeah.
They do a couple of festivals they call Immortal Fest, it's a bunch of Christian bands. It's Mike Lee from Barren Cross. He's got.
I love Mike Lee's voice.
Yeah, dude. Well, he's got this new thing.
Do you know Mike Lee?
Yeah, he's a great friend of mine, man.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
I messaged him once on Facebook, and I was like, "Dude, I'm a big fan." Like I was like, I I'm in the band Queensryche, and like, dude, I love your voice. And
Yeah.
he wrote back. He was like, oh, that's really cool. And I think he goes by Michael Drive, but
Michael Drive now. Yeah.
you know, but like, I always loved his sound. He had such a cool sound.
Kind of
cool.
Bruce Dickinson-ish.
I'd love to meet him. Yeah, I'd love to meet him one day.
I'll tell you what, man. We'll talk after we're done here. After we're done recording, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But Mike is actually, do you remember the band Deliverance? You ever heard of them?
No.
George Ochoa was the guitarist. Jimmy P. Brown's the other guitar. By the way, Jimmy P. Brown, a great friend of mine. He told me to tell you that you have fantastic voice, by the way.
That's nice.
But Mike is with George and a couple of the other guys from Recon. I don't know if you remember Recon, and they started a band called Human Code.
Okay.
And they're just getting ready to release a record who was produced by Dino Elefante.
Okay.
You know who Dino is, right? From Kansas.
I know the name, yeah, but I don't know him.
Okay, all right, yeah. So Dino, he started his label again, and he produced this record with George, and it's a great record. Mike sings on it, and some of the stuff he does on there is just great old Barron Cross, Mike Lee stuff, and then there's some new stuff that he's doing that's just really cool. I've always liked Mike's voice. He's just a great guy, and like I said, him and I are good buddies.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's Barron Cross did a show recently at that place at Immortal Fest at the BMI Event Center. And that was like a one-off because Steve, the drummer, he's got, I think, dementia or something like that. So he's not going to be able to play anymore. However, Mike is going to be there.
They still have the same guitar player,
Ray. Yep.
Rey Parra.
On bass. Rey Parra. Yep.
Rey Parra. And who's the bass player again?
Jim Laverty.
Jim Laverty, yeah, same guy, yeah.
Yep, another great friend of mine. That's guys, cool. Yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah, I love Barron Cross.
Yeah, man.
I love Barron Cross. It's so funny because when I met my wife, we were talking about music and this and that, and I mentioned she mentioned Barron Cross, and I was like, Barron? She's from Greece.
Oh,
I
wow.
go. She was living in Greece. I go, Barron Cross? She's like, yeah. She's like, State of Control and like, this
yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? I'm like, nobody I know outside of my circle knows Barron Cross.
Wow.
I still listen to that stuff, like Heaven or Nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh, love that song, man.
Power
ballad.
Terrorist Child.
Yeah, man.
All that. I know all that stuff, dude.
That is great. Wait till I tell him, man. I'm gonna hook you up with him. I'll hook you up with Mike, man. Yeah.
So Mike, you're doing this Immortal Fest.
Yeah. So we're playing with Pillar, and then we're doing the Immortal Fest. That's Labor Day weekend.
Cool.
I'm actually playing there with two of my bands. I also have a band called Worldview, who is the same band that Mike Lee has with Human Code.
Okay.
They started out as Recon. And then we did Worldview. I did a record with them. And then Mike Lee now did Human Code with the same musicians. And now they're releasing that record. I think they just released it yesterday or the other day. And now I'm going to go back and do another record with the same band as Worldview. So that band Worldview, we're actually headlining Saturday night, Labor Day weekend. And Sacred Warrior, we're headlining Sunday. So I'm playing twice with two different bands. Yeah. Yeah. And then we got invited to come back to Germany in March. So we're working on that.
What? What is that, a festival?
Yeah, two different festivals. I'm not sure. One of them, I couldn't even tell you what they're called, bro. But our manager's working on that right now, working on a deal for that. And, you going to play something for me or what? Come on.
Hold on. See if I remember it. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how's it go?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Good evening to all of you. Well, we hope you enjoy our show.
Oh yeah, bro.
That's
Dude,
great.
they actually played that song at Immortal Fest last year when they played there. Mike
Really?
went up to the
Stage of
acoustic.
Intensity.
Yeah, bro. Woo.
And he would play like the acoustic V.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and he did. He did it at that show.
He did.
It was
He did have a sound that was like Dio meets Bruce Dickinson.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like really powerful and it was just really, really different. I remember the first time somebody showed me them and I was like, who is that? That sounds so awesome.
Yeah, he still has that same tone in his voice. It's great, man.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know he changed his name to Michael Drive, and then he was doing something with Tracy. Was it somebody who played with Dio, right? Wasn't it his
I'm not sure.
I think it was a guitar player who played in his band who played with Ronnie Dio.
Oh wow.
You have to ask him. Tracy G or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baron Cross. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, one of these days, man, I'll just have to drive over to the other coast.
Yeah, man.
And go grab a lunch and do like an afternoon hang or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man. But so bro, it was great hanging out with you, man. And really look forward to it. And we did it, and it turned out great. Any last words before we end this show?
No, man, just it was nice to get to talk to you, and hopefully your audience enjoys the chat, and thanks for the support. That was really nice of you to talk about Queensryche and the show that we did. We had a good time.
Yeah, man.
I guess that's about it. Just two guys hanging.
That's it. That's it.
So,
all right, man. Hey guys, listen, thanks for hanging out with Todd and myself. And remember, man, hit the like and subscribe. And we'll be putting all of Todd's links on here when we finish it. And remember to just keep rocking on. Is it wrong? Todd, hang in there for a minute. All right.
Yep.